Hi, my name is Vanessa van Dijk, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use COSRX Centella Blemish Cream, which you can use after breakouts to calm red, inflamed and irritated skin. And you're going to use this cream like a spot treatment cream, only on the affected areas and whenever you feel the need. Now, when using it throughout the day, you can use it at any time. However, my best advice would be using it in the evening just before going to bed, since it is a very thick cream which needs time to somewhat absorb into the skin and always leaves a residue, kind of like a protective barrier on the skin surface, which if you're planning on applying it in the morning when doing your morning skincare routine and you're layering other products afterwards, like your sunscreen and or makeup afterwards, then it can become quite messy and you're going to move it around so it won't treat that specific spot anymore. And so therefore, my best advice and the way I like to use it myself is using it in the evening instead, because then I can use it as my last product in my evening routine. And so this is what I want to keep my focus on, so that you can see it visually when using this cream as well at home. And I want to share with you the best way on how you can use it. And so my best advice would be, when using it in your evening routine, get started with the first step, which is going to be washing your face with a suitable cleanser for your skin type and needs, which can be any cleanser as long as it does not dry out the skin nor irritates the skin. And it should be able to remove any excess oil, dirt and sweat from the skin, and to some extent sunscreen and or makeup as well, to make sure that everything is going to be removed from the skin so that you will end up with a freshly washed and clean face. And then once you have washed your face with your cleanser, then you can either continue with the rest of your skincare routine and as your last step use the blemish cream, or immediately move on to the Centella Blemish Cream and use it on those affected areas. And so I want to keep it as short as possible, yet so that you can see how you can apply and use the cream. Now, what's important to keep in mind is, since it is a very thick cream, the next day when waking up in the morning, it is important that you're going to wash your face again with a suitable cleanser for your skin type and needs, to make sure that you can remove the residue so that you will end up with a freshly washed and clean face and then continue with your usual morning skincare routine. And during daytime, what's important to do is wearing sunscreen when being exposed to the sun to protect the skin not only from premature aging or from sun damage, but to prevent those red inflamed spots from turning into dark spots, because if that should be the case, then you're dealing with hyperpigmentation, which is quite difficult to treat. So therefore we want to prevent it, and my best advice would be, during daytime wear sunscreen, and in the evening there's no sunscreen needed. So this is like an overall general guide that you can keep in mind when working with the COSRX Centella Blemish Cream. And so I'm now going to show you how you can use it step by step. So again, the first step is going to be washing your face with a suitable cleanser for your skin type and needs. I have a few examples right here. I have a gentle cleanser, I have a salicylic acid cleanser right here, or even a balm cleanser. So depending on how stubborn your sunscreen may be, you want to switch your cleanser into a balm or oil cleanser to break down your sunscreen and or makeup. Or if your gentle cleanser or exfoliating acid cleanser is able to remove your sunscreen and or makeup as well, then that's fine, go ahead and stick to it. Again, your cleanser should be able to remove any excess oil, dirt, sweat, makeup and sunscreen from the skin so that you will end up with a freshly washed and clean face. And so in this example, I'm going to stick to the Inkey Salicylic Acid Cleanser, since we're already dealing with blemish-prone skin. Of course, this is just an example. If you have a different cleanser at home that works really well for you, go ahead and stick to that one. Just make sure to read on the back of the packaging on how you should use your cleanser, since the directions can change depending on the cleanser that you're using. Do you have to apply it on wet or on dry skin, which changes the application? So my first step is going to be wetting my face, neck and hands with lukewarm water to warm water. So let's go ahead and do this. Then go ahead and use about 1 to 2 pumps, or about a coin size amount of your cleanser in the palm of your hand. Like so. Use it between your hands and evenly massage it all over your face and neck for about 30 seconds to a minute. So, and once you have massaged it all over your face and neck, you can go ahead and again rinse it off with lukewarm water to warm water. Now, in case you should have troubles removing the cleanser a bit better from the skin, I recommend using a soft washcloth which you can wet, and this can help you to remove the cleanser a bit better. So, and now go ahead and take a fresh towel and pat the skin dry. So, once you are done with washing your face, you can either go ahead and continue with the rest of your skincare routine and then use the Centella Blemish Cream as your last step, or you can immediately move on to the Centella Blemish Cream if you're not using anything else as well. And so I'm going to immediately move on to the application of the Centella Blemish Cream to show you the application on my face. Now, I do want to quickly emphasize that before you're going to apply it to those red, inflamed and irritated spots, please make sure to not apply it on freshly popped pimples. Because if you're going to apply it on freshly popped pimples, since they're still open, it can sting or slightly burn on that area, which is quite uncomfortable, and therefore I recommend avoiding it. So either wait a few hours or maybe a day until that area has kind of like healed so that it isn't open anymore, and then apply the cream on that specific spot so it can calm down, reduce the redness overall, so that you will have a pleasant experience when using this cream. And so this is a very thick cream which you're going to use like a spot treatment. And so there are two ways on how you can use it like a spot treatment, which depends on the red spots that you have on your face, maybe neck or even décolletage. And so when having, for example, a specific area where you have several red spots at one place, then you can apply a thin layer on that specific area, which can be, for example, the cheeks, which is very common for some people, or the jawline if you should have several like red spots on your jawline. For me, in my case, it's not really my jawline, it's more so like the middle of my forehead, where I do get like a few pimples every now and then, which then turn red. And so in that specific sense, instead of using it on each and every red spot, you can take a bit on your fingertip and then evenly apply it only on that affected area so that you can cover them all at once. Like so that you're going to have a thin layer on that area where you want to treat those red spots. Again, if you should have like a similar area to this on your cheeks or jawline, you basically would do the same thing, and then you're going to leave it on the skin. Or if you have specific red single spots, then you can use it only on those spots as well, which again you're going to use a bit on your finger, and then you're just going to use it on that red spot, which again can be on your face, maybe on your jawline, maybe on your neck, or even your décolletage. And then just use it on those spots. And again, once you have applied it, then you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. And so since you're going to do this in the evening, and since it is a very thick cream that you're going to use like a spot treatment, the way on how I like to do it is basically applying it about an hour or half an hour before I'm going to bed, so that it can somewhat absorb already into the skin. And then with any residue that's still on the skin surface, just before I'm going to bed, I'm just going to take a clean finger and then I'm going to blend the residue a bit further out so that it isn't as thickly on the skin surface anymore. So that when I'm then going to bed, I won't mess the entire blanket or maybe pillow where I just have used the cream. Now, there's one more tip that I want to share with you, and this is also when using it just before going to bed. I usually tend to use a towel as well with me, and I'm going to put it on my pillow. So usually I have a very small pillow, so this is like the great size of the pillow that I usually use that I'm sleeping on. And so I'm going to put this on my pillow so that when I'm sleeping and I'm going to move around, it's not on my actual pillow, but it is on my towel, which I then just can put into the like washing machine and clean the towel, so that you're making sure that you're not going to mess the entire bed or pillow on like how you have slept, because you cannot really control the movement of it. But at the same time, you're making sure that you're only using the cream where you actually need it to calm the redness down. And so once you have applied it, you then are waiting a bit just before going to bed. You have blended it out a bit further, and then you're going to bed and sleep. You're going to leave it on the skin for the entire night. And then the next day, when waking up, you can see or basically feel that the cream has somewhat absorbed into the skin. Maybe you have some residue on your towel as well, which isn't something to worry about it because you have a towel underneath. But what's important to make sure is during daytime, or let's say when waking up in the morning, to wash your face with a gentle and suitable cleanser again, to make sure that you're getting this residue of the cream off before moving on to the rest of your skincare routine. And then please don't forget, before being exposed to the sun, to wear sunscreen as well, to like protect those areas so that they won't turn into dark spots, because we want to prevent hyperpigmentation in the sense of dark spots, because those are more difficult to treat than calming down the redness of a previous pimple. And so this is how I personally like to use the cream myself. This is the advice and like tips that I can share with you when using this cream as well, when trying this out at home. And I do hope that you find this video helpful. I do hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did so, please don't forget to give the thumbs up as well as share it. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye!